Welcome back. The Food and Drug Administration unexpectedly canceled an annual meeting to update next season's flu vaccine. This is a break in the usual process of developing vaccines for the next flu season. Now, many on the FDA advisory committee are questioning why that meeting was even canceled in the first place. So CBS News digital reporter Alex Tin joins us live with the latest. And Alex, what exactly do we know about the cancellation so far?
Yeah, well, here's the usual process for updating every year's annual influenza vaccine. There's a meeting of the WHO. They call input from all over the world, including from U.S. health officials. That meeting is happening this week. The results of that meeting is typically a recommendation of what the flu vaccine should look like around the northern hemisphere. That recommendation is forwarded to the FDA, and usually the FDA has a meeting with its outside advisors in early March where they look at those recommendations. 9 times out of 10, they look at those recommendations and say, we agree, this looks great, this should be the recipe for the upcoming flu season's vaccines. That recipe is then put into the vaccines. They start the 6-month process of manufacturing them just in time for them to roll out and roll into people's arms come fall and winter of this coming flu season. What has happened now is that meeting has been canceled. HHS, that's the Department of Health and Human Services, tells us they are still planning on making a recommendation despite the meeting being canceled. That's within their authority. But it is unprecedented to cancel the meeting, to essentially skip this outside input, to skip this kind of transparency step in the process and update the vaccines without it.
Alex, you sort of just answered my next question, but can you explain to our viewers just how important these meetings are in the first place? And will there be any consequences from canceling them?
Yeah, I mean, look, people who have been following this process probably remember that the new Health and Human Services Secretary, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a big part of the concern that a lot of Democrats and health experts had during his confirmation hearing was what role these vaccine advisory committees would be playing under his administration. We're now starting to see this is just the latest of many vaccine advisory committees that have been canceled. Now, to be clear, this is probably one of the least controversial meetings that the FDA ever holds with this committee. A lot of their decisions they can make probably alone, probably internally, probably with their own career federal scientists to say, yes, we agree with the WHO's decision. But this committee is also often called on for much more controversial, much more high-profile decisions. Think the COVID vaccines is one major example where sometimes there's a lot of public scrutiny and sometimes there's even internal disagreements over how to decide on these controversial vaccines. With this advisory committee now canceled with no explanation, despite all of this precedent, is raising a lot of questions of what this means going forward for all of those more controversial decisions the FDA, the CDC, and the other agencies under Robert F. Kennedy Jr. are going to look like in the coming years.
Okay, we shall wait and see. Alex Tin, thank you so much for your insight today. Appreciate your time.